Esteemed ladies and gentlemen, with all respect to your titles, good afternoon. We welcome you at this annual conference as part of the series of Joseph Sayigh Developmental Lectures 2022. We thank you for your participation. We wish to welcome our dear friend Dr. Fadel Al-Naqib, with whom we have a pleasant memories, especially during the Israeli raids of Ramallah in 2002. Please allow me to explain the ground rules of our event today, especially for those participating via Zoom. The professor will present his lecture via live broadcast from Canada. Mass in Palestine will manage the event. The names of the participants will appear on the screen, but without their pictures, except for the main speakers. The chat and sound and camera of participants via Zoom will be deactivated, but you may send the questions to the lecturer via Zoom. We will take these questions if time allows it. Following the lecture, we will have a 30-minute interactive discussion with the participants, taking 2 rounds of questions from our participants at mass premises and our participants via Zoom. We thank you to ask your questions and comments in less than 2 minutes to give room to the lecturer to respond. We wish to attract your attention to interpretation via Zoom connection. For those present with us in the hall, there is a limited number of interpretation devices. Now we start this lecture with the opening remarks of the Director of Mass, Dr. Raja Al-Khaldi. Thank you, Mohammed. Welcome, Fadel. Esteemed ladies and gentlemen, Mass Institute for Economic Policy Research is honored to host the 13th lecture since 2009 to remember the legacy of Yusif Abdullah As-Sayigh, who paved the first way of Palestinian economic research and before that Arabic economic research to institute a new science that is taught today in world universities called Palestinian Development Studies. Our ongoing remembrance of Dr. Joseph As-Sayigh is not only for his distinguished person. Only few people of those who knew him remember him for his humor and intelligence. But what matters to us is to highlight his intellectual production in the economy of Palestinian development and how he carried this production carried in the 1980s and 1990s a clear national identity and harmony with the struggle of the state and the priorities of independence and national liberation. On the other hand, the economic thought of As-Sayigh belonged to a school that was marginalized under the spread of globalization and liberalism for many years. Probably now we see a shift to a new economic policy consensus on a new and probably old role of the experiences of economic crisis in the past decade. I believe that we are feeling the echoes of this slow transformation in the global development concepts and the priorities by focusing local economic research on promoting the productive sectors rather than believing that our economic destiny is only in services. In a manner where this new focus may allow for what Yusif Sayigh called for is to emancipate from the colonial economic dependency rather than finding ways to be close to the Israeli economy. For these reasons, and the other distinctive thoughts of Joseph Sayigh, Mass seized the opportunity of holding its 2022 lecture to give a scientific gift to the Palestinian public that is up to the legacy of Dr. Joseph Sayegh, as we did before in publishing Sayegh's work. Mass will publish online and in limited hard copies a study we found by chance almost. It was prepared by Dr. Sayegh in 1990 in the name of the PLO. And imagine we did not find a copy of this study anywhere except in one library in the Arab world. And we wish to thank the Institute for Palestine Studies and its library in Beirut at that time, and probably others among you have seen the study. And I remember that this is a study before the national program. And I remember how Dr. Sayegh argued with me and my colleagues about the concept of the economic pillars of an independent state and how he researched, as he always did, for the best English translation of that term. And it was underpinnings. And this is the title of the study that is published today in a copy which is printed for the first time. What happened in later years, it deviated Sayegh's economic vision, which was designed under new political horizons after the Declaration of Independence in 1988 and at the peak of the Intifada, that is before the First Gulf War and the Oslo Accord. This difficult era came with political outcome that did not respond to the minimum presented by Sayegh's study about the necessary pillars of the economy of an independent state. And I believe that the first person to draft and spread the idea of national economy was Dr. Joseph Sayegh. I haven't seen it in any other study before. Here we need to express our appreciation to our colleagues who connected day and night to reprint, type and edit the study and design it. Their names are on the internal cover of the book. All of them are part of our administrative team at MAS. So our celebration of Dr. Sayegh is not limited to those interested in the economy, but it goes beyond this sector. And I hope that you take time to read this a great product of Yusif Sayigh to remember some of the difficult economic and political realities that we may have failed to change on the ground and to remind ourselves of the very basics of developmental economy. And this links us to the speaker this year, the professor, teacher, and friend Fadil Mustafa Al-Naqib, son of Safad, an Arab Palestinian who could not respond to our invitation to come in person in Palestine, but he's with us today, talking from Canada to present his lecture. And we preferred for technical reasons to record it beforehand so that he can follow with us the broadcast and respond live to your questions and comments in the second part of our meeting today. Fadl Al-Naqib is the best person to join us to commemorate Yusuf Sayegh for many reasons. First, Joseph Sayegh was one of the prominent economic Arabs who Fadl co-lived with for many years. And since he returned in the 1990s to work in Palestine as a researcher in mass and with UN organizations to prepare many economic studies, which were important. These studies are the continuation and development of the approach of Sayegh in studying the political economy of Palestinian development, which gives Fadl Al-Naqib more credit to present his lecture. I will not praise Dr. Fadl more, but for those who have not known him or read his writings may not know that Fadl Al-Naqib and his economic thought have strong roots in his genuine belonging to our joint Arab nationalism and his understanding of the movement of history and economy in the Arab Mashriq through these lenses. So the writings of Fadl Naqib on the history of the political economy of Palestine and the Arab world is not less important than his economic contributions. I will not be exaggerating when I say that there isn't anybody who could do better than Fadl al-Naqib in understanding the global effect of his friend Ghassan Kanafani at the same level of Said or Darwish. In his book, This is How Stories End and How Stories Begin, Personal Perceptions of the Life of Ghassan Kanafani and Bassem Khubaisi. And finally, in this year, in his introduction to a special issue of Al-Hadaf magazine on the 50th anniversary of martyrdom of Ghassan under the title The Cross Time and Place Ghassan Kanafani. Furthermore, An-Naqib discussions with Muhammad Hassanin Haikal, which is published in the Egyptian Literary Magazine Viewpoint, gives us more insight of his life and contributions. And this links us to our topic today. We agreed with Fadl that it will be presented because he has a broad research experience in the Arab economies with an independent critical view of the Arab development experience, which may be cruel or doctrinal, nationalistic, but it is always based on facts and better economic experiences in the different Arab countries, which Fadil will mention. In all his activities, in all the activities of MAS, we provide a safe space for free economic discussion without evading the political discussion related to economy in Palestine or the Arab world. The series of these lectures is an example of this institutional legacy, and Fadl al-Naqib is the first one who will say his frank opinion, and he will accept the opinion of others, which is frank and open. Therefore, I'm quite confident that he will welcome your remarks, whether they are positive or critical, and we will find the appropriate words to answer. In conclusion, I wish to express my appreciation and respect to the Bank of Palestine and to its management, this pioneer institution that always fulfills its national and corporate social responsibility. Sponsorship of the Bank of Palestine of the lecture list year to what MAS is providing.